Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Hockey East. Great to be with you once again, along with Bridgette Prue. I'm Eric and Bridgette. We're going to flip things and have our guest join us first today. And our guest today is brought to you by the Boston Harbor Hotel. Plan your fall getaway today at bostonharborhotel.com and experience Boston's best waterfront views. We are joined by Boston College sophomore and Boston Bruins first-round pick this year, James Hagens. Nice enough to spend a minute with us. James, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with, just the team overall. You guys have won 4 games in a row, playing your best hockey, a nice sweep over UMass last weekend. What is the thing that's kind of been working here these last 4 games?
Yeah, those were 2 huge weekends for us. I think just coming together, going out there, playing a full game. I think a huge thing was just playing the right way. When you play the right way, good things happen. So that's been something that's, really been harped on, and it's been helping us out recently.
I know, James, you had a really exciting draft day this past summer where you got to, have the Happy Gilmore video, and you got just kind of a whirlwind experience of what the NHL draft is like. But I was curious to know, have any of the current Bruins players, did they reach out back then to welcome you to the team? Have you heard from them? How much do you keep in touch with your pro team while you're in hockey?
Yeah, it was really cool. I think it's a whirlwind right away when you stand up and, you hear your name called. And after I was getting a text from a bunch of the players. I got a FaceTime that night from Pasta. So that was really cool. And then when I was able to come here, I was able to train here in Boston for a couple weeks over the summer. I was able to meet a bunch of them. Great guys, great human beings. They made it feel like home for me. So.
James, how different has this year been knowing where you're going, your Bruins draft pick, and being able to do that versus last year where, it's your first year of college hockey, you're dealing with the whole draft process. I imagine teams want to talk to you every single day. How have the 2 years been different now that you know where you're going after your college career?
Yeah, it's definitely nice when, you know that you're going right down the street. So that's something too that, I wanted to go to college in Boston, and to be able to stay in Boston, it's something that's really special, something I'm really grateful for. And just, being here, being in the moment, I think that's something that, has really helped me, just being a part of it, of being a part of it here and, just being present. So.
And what's it like being now, like, obviously this wasn't something you dealt with your first season, not being drafted yet, but now that you are drafted to the local team, what's it like being a Bruins prospect, going about your day-to-day life? Do guys come up to you, do fans come up to you and talk about your future?
You just, you kind of go about your day. We have a bunch of guys on the team that are also Bruins prospects too, so that's obviously nice. But no, you don't really talk about it. You don't think about that. Your mind set on here. You're worried about what you're doing today, and trying to help out to hopefully win games on the weekend here. So.
James, one of the unique things, of course, is you talked about Bruins development camp. Basically, every game you guys play is Bruins development camp because you guys have 6 Bruins prospects, Bruins draft picks on your roster. I know a couple of them are out right now. But what has that been like? Not that you're thinking about it every single day, obviously, but you're playing with Dean, you're playing with Will Moore and Andre and Oscar and, and Christian as well. What is that dynamic like for you guys?
Yeah, it's special. To be able to be with a bunch of guys that are prospects, a part of that program. Especially when you get to dev camp, it makes you feel comfortable when familiar faces there, and here being able to play with them, to be able to practice against them every day, and they raise you to be your best day in and day out.
And for you, what's the biggest thing you're working on this year? I've heard a lot about, wanting to work on your shot, but are there things that you're really focusing on this year with Boston College to just make improvements on last year and get ready for the pro game?
Yeah, I think, a huge thing I've been trying to work on, it's, to be able to be trusted in your own zone. You want to be able to be a guy that, coach can trust when he puts out on the ice. That's a huge component of the game. And I think getting to the middle, trying to work on my shot, get shots off, not pass up on opportunities. So those are all things that I've been trying to work on.
James, before we get to a couple of fun questions to wrap up, you obviously have been playing with your brother at Boston College the last couple of years, but last weekend was unique in the fact that your brother, who is a defenseman, if folks don't know, was playing on your forward line last week due to some guys banged up and other things. What was that like? Was that the first time you guys had ever played forward together specifically? I had to imagine that, not that that was the ideal game plan going into the season, but it must have been special for you guys.
Actually, when we were back on the Long Island Royals growing up, we were probably 11, 12 years old. We were playing together forward then. So it was really cool being back together, especially when, he's up on your line. So that was a cool moment, to be able to go over there and get that win. It was a huge game too. So.
All right, we got some fun questions for you to finish off. So first one, if you weren't a hockey player, what other profession would you be in?
I grew up playing lacrosse. I love lacrosse, so I would hopefully try to make it to the PLL.
And what's your go-to pump-up song, or even just a genre? What are you putting on to pump yourself up?
I love Sam Barber, so whatever Sam Barber song it is, I think my favorite one's "Man You Raised" by Sam Barber. It's a good song. So.
And last one, what's your go-to dining hall order? When we talked to your teammate, Dean Letourneau, we had a really interesting answer. So I don't know, do you have anything crazy you order when you go to the dining hall, or you keep it simple?
I just got back from the dining hall, so I think my go-to is just two chicken cutlets, just 2 pieces of chicken, and I get 2 pieces of American cheese on both. So. And then I throw rice on the side.
All right.
That's
well,
nice.
that was a little
not
bit
quite as crazy as Dean.
Not quite. No. He had some random late sauces on his, and
yeah, Dean goes a little nuts.
Well, good stuff. Well, we know you got to get to lift. Good luck this weekend. We're looking forward to watching you guys against Maine here on Ness and James. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
That's James Hagens, Boston College sophomore. We'll continue on with This Week in Hockey East. Coming up, we'll talk about that BC Maine game next.